Nightmare really kicked off a trend of Left 4 Dead 2 mods that embrace the dark, gritty vibes of the Turtle Rock era. And while some of them do lean close to the original ideas of Nightmare, like the Dreadmare mod for instance, others take it a step further to claim that identity as their own, and reshape it in a unique way. One such mod that was recommended to me was Lost for Creed, which is a unique Left 4 Dead 2 overhaul focusing on a demonic invasion and teams fighting for their lives as they make their way through these streets, buildings, everywhere else overrun by what seems like a demonic pestilence. It's intense, it's loud, it's brutal. It is a very, very ambitious overhaul. I like the effort put into it, and it's clear the creators, Cross, in this case, Where is the Challenge, along with his team, have come up with something really unique. This even goes for a unique intro cutscene, some campaigns that are strung together in a map collection, a bunch of new features, and lore for the collection. It's impressive at face value, and I want to commend the effort put into the mod. That is cool. I love it when mod creators create their own stories for their add-ons and such. The problem is the execution. This has moments of brilliance, of really cool ideas coming to fruition, and when Lost for Creed plays well, it's a lot of fun. It's just the problem is, half as many times as I had fun, I would run into serious issues that didn't just feel like difficulty spikes. This isn't just a case of it being a harder mod, which is true, but it feels like it's unintentionally harder. It's hard for the wrong reasons. So let's dive into Lost for Creed, where it goes right and where it goes wrong. So Lost for Creed. It has the usual Left 4 Dead 1 and Left 4 Dead 2 survivors. There are alternating campaigns in this unique collection, though you can play this with the default campaigns and it still works. The changes carry over. The zombies have more unique body types. It seems like they pull from the Dead Rising 1 Infected add-on, with the twitching heads of the Twitchers from Cry of Fear. They are aggressive and fast, and combat with them is a lot bloodier. Their weapons aren't as good, but they still deal damage, they're reliable. Combat is very much touch and go. The common infected aren't as much of a threat, but the special infected are very, very dangerous for reasons I'll get into. The point is, you need to stick with your team and fight for your life. Every moment you're out of the safe house is a moment you're in danger. And the game really emphasizes that. Everything's darker, it's tougher to see, the music's a lot more bombastic. The gunfire is almost painful to hear, with how loud and bit-crushed it is. And the special infected alerts are also a lot tougher on the ears. It is pretty fun, to a degree though. I like how melee combat works. The melee weapons are given some unique overhauls in some areas. For instance, there's a replacement for the guitar that turns into a breaching hammer, and hitting zombies with it sends them flying. There's an axe that's electrified, and if you hit a zombie with it, they'll catch fire. The chainsaw draws in hordes, but it still is really good at chopping them up, and so on and so forth. The secondaries have been changed, more nerfed, while still dealing good damage. The pistol only has 10 shots, the Magnum is a revolver with 6 shots, and from there the guns get a little more off the rails. Like, the SMGs are a secondary Scorpion and a primary two-handed SMG. One of the shotguns is a Super Shorty that is a secondary weapon with infinite ammo, and the primary one is a sawed-off double-barreled shotgun that deals a ton of damage but also knocks you back and is slower to reload. The assault rifles vary. There's a FAMAS, which has 30 rounds, good damage, a lot of kick. There's a Type 99 LMG that sort of burst fires and deals a lot of damage. There's an MG42 that sprays out bullets, has a lot of ammo in reserve and loaded. And a grenade launcher that is a rotary one, so you have 6 shots and more in reserve. Some of these guns would sound overpowered if it wasn't for the fact that you're constantly drawing in the infected. Noise attracts infected beyond the lengths of the base game. It isn't just car alarms anymore. Jumping can draw them to your position. Firing guns draws them to your position, especially louder guns. And so that means getting into gunfights with the infected can result in even more coming your way. This ties into one of the issues, which is that the game throws a lot at you. Lost for Creed doesn't pull punches, but the problem is it never stops punching you. And that is where the special infected become a real issue. It likes to throw like 3 or 4 special infected at once, and due to their designs and the fact that some of their callouts don't have as much prominence, they can easily slip by you without you noticing. And it can send the pinning sort of special infected at you all at once, instead of separating it between the spitting types, the damage-based types. This creates a lot of problems. So there have been more instances where my bot teammates and I would just be pinned simultaneously, or one would be completely mauled by common infected, stuck in place, while the rest of us were being dragged by a smoker, hit by a hunter, pulled by a jockey. It was really, really frustrating. The witch is also very frustrating to deal with. She blends in well with the infected population. It's easy to set her off because of the noise issues. You can knock her around with the hammer, and that's a really good weapon for dealing with her, because hitting her with it causes her to stumble. But other weapons aren't as effective. She wiped me out several times, and because this isn't running with advanced bot AI, the map just ends if you die, unless you're playing co-op with other people. The bots won't defibrillate you, the map just ends and restarts from there. It's sometimes better off just to throw the witch at your teammates instead, especially because she has a lot of health and she's taller, so crowning her isn't as easy. The tank is a nightmare. This is for several reasons. The tank's a lot tougher, and he spawns a lot more commonly. And this can happen in the worst locations. I was playing one of the recommended campaigns, and I swear, the tank spawned in less than a minute. And we didn't even have good weapons. We had pistols and melee weapons. The tank is buffed in this mod, which makes it even worse. There are other times when the tank would spawn in like these very encroached office spaces where there's very little room to dodge or maneuver, and he would just pound away at us, and there was nothing we could do. He would wipe us effortlessly. There were times when some of the traps around levels could come in handy. A satisfying moment was destroying explosive barrels right near a tank to deal a lot of damage and ignite him. which took out a large chunk of his health, but that's the exception. Most of the time, if you're going to fight a tank, you're going to lose. And a reason for that is that the bots in this are bad. I don't know what's going on with the bot AI. I don't know if it's the specific custom campaigns not having good navigation meshes, but it's a nightmare playing with these guys. The bots get stuck on safe house doors. They don't save you when you're being pounced or pinned or being pulled by a smoker. They get distracted by the dumbest things. And they will watch. You will see their outlines around the wall while you're dying. That is probably one of the worst parts of Lost for Creed. The bots are terrible teammates, but they're all you've got. So you kind of have to babysit them the entire time. You don't need them to complete levels, but you kind of need more guns on targets, especially because Special Infector are better at sneaking up on you. That said, I do want to give some credit. I like some of the redesigns and some of the reworks for the infected. I like how there's an infected dog enemy, sort of like how there were some theories that a zombie dog was in the works at Left 4 Dead, though that's been speculated upon and so on. I like how sometimes some of the infected blend in with their regular counterparts, that can lead to frustration. I do like, though, the unique voice lines given to the Special Infected. I like how the tank sounds like the replica, the Fear 2 replica, that is. It fits weirdly well for the idea of this demonically possessed soldier attacking you, since he has the sacrifice tank's design. Outside of that, there are just confusing points around Lost for Creed. There's a warning in one of the campaigns. The graffiti mentions that the smoke clouds left by the smoker will damage you. But that doesn't happen. You can walk inside and hang around the smoke clouds and nothing happens. There are issues where the survivors look a little like the infected, and it can be easy to mix them up in the heat of the moment. Normal mode is also just really challenging. I think it's because of the artificial difficulty issues with the bots and the special infected numbers. Even on easy, the problem isn't really mitigated. The issues still linger there, so I don't think it's an intended thing by the developers. I know they wanted to make a harder add-on, but this is a bit much. I'd say the biggest issue with Lost for Creed, though, is the lighting. I have no idea what lighting configurations are happening with it, but it's actually painful to play. That sounds mean, but I'm not talking about like the gameplay experience. I mean like the lighting. You have to really strain your eyes to see what's going on. If you turn the brightness too low, then enemies are difficult to see, and you have to use the flashlight, which is also kind of blinding at that point. If you max out the brightness, you can see enemies better, but it really causes issues with the in-game lighting. And then the flashlight is just overkill, to the point where it's tough to see what's going on. Even with low lighting, blowing up an explosive barrel or setting a gas can on fire can create these massive bursts of light that make it seem like you're playing with full brightness on. I actually had to stop and take a break after half an hour just because my eyes were hurting from playing it and straining to see what I was shooting at. The campaigns that are intended to be played with the collection are frustrating. Some of them just have complicated directions, they don't flow naturally, and the dark, dingy design of Lost for Creed hampers them further. Others play better. I liked ZMB 13, which is one of the add-on campaigns where you're in this underground lab where an outbreak happens and you're trying to escape. That was pretty fun, even if the directions for the second level were a little confusing. The first one, Hopeless, wasn't a good starting level, I found. It was way too difficult to navigate and too challenging for what should be a simple introduction to the series. The second campaign wasn't much better, and I tried out Death Toll with these add-ons, but there were just issues with the Witch and the Tank absolutely wiping my team. Lost for Creed has good things going for it. When it works, it really works, and I like it. Again, I love the sledgehammer weapon. I love the electrical axe. The hits are satisfying. There's more gore when you hit infected. I like the headshot feedback. I like the concept of it. I like the idea of a paranormal-based zombie outbreak instead of a biological one. It's just the execution is the issue. At the end of the day, it's not fun to play, and I'd say that's the worst part of it. It isn't a challenge for the right reasons. If it was meant to be really difficult, but there was like a consistent logic behind it, that would work fine. I would just say that it's not the right mod for me, and that I get what the developers are going for. But I don't think this was hard in the way they intended it. There are too many issues that fly in the face of the intended experience. The bot AI is way too dumb, the special infected are way too aggressive and way too good at just wiping out your team, and the tank is too strong for its own good. The tank just devastates teams and has way too much health. I don't know. I wanted to like Lost for Creed. I get what the developers are going for. They put a lot of effort into it. I don't have any disrespect for them because I think they really tried their best to create a unique story and a unique environment. And I want to shout them out for that at least. I like what they were trying to put together, it's just the end result isn't good. It hurts to play, literally. My eyes, I still can't believe how much strain it put on them. It was like playing Virtual Boy for half an hour. So, I wouldn't recommend Lost for Creed, though I would say I think it's really neat. I get what the developers were going for, and I wish them luck with continuing to support the mod and continuing to update it. I think you guys are onto something unique here, and I can tell you guys are really creative and really inspired with this. It's just the execution needs to be hammered out, figuring out a way to tone down the special spawns, tone down the tank's abilities, and to make the AI for the survivors better somehow. If you could do that, Lost for Creed would be excellent, and it would occupy a unique niche of Left 4 Dead, one where the zombies come from demonic forces rather than an outbreak. In any case, thank you guys for recommending Lost for Creed for me. Have you played it yet? Am I off, or do you think this is a fair assessment? You know, I always love to hear your thoughts. So, thank you all for watching, thanks for hearing me out, and thank you to the creators of Lost for Creed for putting this up on the workshop. You guys put a lot of heart into it, and I think that's cool. Take care.